So let's take a quick summary of the niching down now. You start with your large niche. So the person who asked the question earlier, whatever you choose or whatever niche you're in, break it down into smaller pots. Become obsessed with your customers, their pain, frustrations, and their deepest desires. And then you simply follow the money. You shift and sift to your hot pot. Now, again, I'm going to say this again. You cannot do this on a spreadsheet and then write down the stuff and work out your golden pot, hot pot, because you did a spreadsheet. I hope this sinks home, because I've been doing this for a long time. And when people submit and I work with people, they send a spreadsheet to me and say, well, I've been going with this for 1.5 days and I haven't found my hot pot yet. I can't help you. You have to follow the process. There is no other way. So, and you have to know your customers better than your competition, because this is how you stand out. This has become how you become a true expert. Can you see this has got nothing to do with marketing and selling at this point? We haven't even got to the other fancy business stuff that everyone tells you have to do. So now that you're correctly positioned in a red hot niche where you know the cash is flowing, your next step is now standing out in that busy niche. In that niche, you have to stand out, otherwise you're going to get crushed. So let's take a look at your business equation. You've got your customer's current situation, which I've explained in detail. You've got the desired situation, which I've explained in detail. So your job now is to bridge the gap. You show them how they get from there to there. This is your second goal in business. This is how you go, and this is what you call bridging your offer. This is now we're on your offer. Your product or service you're selling as a solution of how you get someone from there to there. That's your goal. Now that you've got all the right information, suddenly this becomes a lot clearer in your head. And these are very, very important words that I'm telling you. A bridge to get them from here to here. Customers don't care about your thing, your product, your service, and whatever the hell you call it. All they're interested in is how do I get from there to there? And if your messaging doesn't convey that, doesn't matter how good your product or service is, how much research and whatever you've done to promote it, if you don't get that message right, nothing's going to sell. So hopefully you start to see clearly now how businesses who are struggling to sell, get customers, make real money, they're out there selling their products that they think is marvelous to people who are not really interested. And what I'm showing you is street smart, practical stuff to get more customers without selling. And how do you sell more stuff to them without selling? That's just what you have to do. So let's just drill a little deeper now. How do you stand out and sell more than competition? Well, there's two things. You have to create an X factor. So to stand out, you have to create an X factor. Yeah, it's often referred to as your USP, your unique selling point. I like to call it your X factor. And then how do you sell more than anyone else? Those are the two questions that we're going to answer in this next session. And what is the answer? I've touched on it already. Your message needs to resonate. And the only way you can do this is by doing what I just told you, the first section. You need to sing a song that your customers really want to hear. You've got to sing a tune that they want to hear, not what you want to sing to them. So here's another great example that I found. So it was of a swimming coach. I don't have his name because this somehow landed up, and I can't reference it, but it's not mine, it's someone else's. But it really reflects what I've been saying about a resonating message. I'm more interested in helping someone get over their fear of water and then teaching them to swim well rather than focus on stroke correction. So what most people would do in selling swimming lessons is, we're going to give your kid the best breaststroke and foot flap strokes and all these things, whatever kids do to be a great swimmer. Well, really what this coach has tapped into is parents don't want their kids to have a fear. They don't want them to drown. They want them to swim well. They couldn't care less if their breaststroke's better than their arm stroke, whatever they do. This is someone who really knows how to resonate a message. And the only way he's known that is because he deeply knows what his parents, the parents' fears or pain is or deepest desire of kids. It's not actual the stroke correction, which is what most people do in their businesses. They focus on the wrong part, not on the message resonating. All right, so let's just take a look now at the second part. And so we continue with the one-page plan. So flowing on, this is the second part. And so if we go back to my example of computers, I landed up with my hotpot of families, which I've shown you. And we move families now to the next section of the plan. And so what is families' deepest fears and problems? What I'm telling you now is really important. Please pay attention to these words, because I'm going to show you how this became a $12 million business by doing the simple process, nothing else. Tech phobia in the 90s, it was like Star Trek landed on Earth with all these gadgets and gizmos. So these families were sold stuff that they didn't want because they didn't understand what they were buying. Computers were really expensive in the early 90s. Most of them couldn't afford the finance deposit at the time in South Africa. There was a 35% upfront deposit, which was out of most people's reach. It was just impossible. And there was no after-sales support. So their powerful desires from their fears and problems, what they really wanted was they were dead scared of being ripped off. It was a big expense. They wanted a family purchasing decision. This was a huge one, right? They wanted the family to be involved in the decision, not the dad or the mom independent. They wanted the kids involved. This was huge. And they wanted to shop on weekends. And they wanted to view displays because they didn't know what megahertz and gigaroms and processors and all this when someone's explaining. They actually wanted to see the computer operating because this was brand new to them. And they want to plug and play. Now, this is taken for granted today. Everything's plug and play. In the early 90s, you had Windows 3.1 and a mouse and a sound card and a CD-ROM. All that stuff, software, you had to buy, go home and put this together. Can you imagine the fiasco that went on there? It was a disaster. What was going on with these people trying to put all this stuff together. So the next piece I want to introduce to you is customer frustrations, because this is how you are starting to find the gaps, and this is how you stand out. So what were competition doing wrong in the market? There was not catering. For pieces, the three-step process I promised you in the emails. Well, these competition had intimidating geek talk. They talked way over the heads of a family. So again, this was tech phobia and am I getting ripped off? This was a big problem. The competitors at that time were trading Monday to Friday. What did our customers want? They really wanted to shop on weekends because it was a family purchasing decision. There was no payment plans. This was a joint venture I had to set up. That's the story for another time, joint venturing. But that's how it broke through. Individual components. So again, what I said, there's no plug and play. You had to go home with all this stuff and install it yourself. And this was another huge thing. You went and you chose your computer from these stores, they weren't stores, like garages in those days. And you ordered something, you had to wait a week, 3 weeks, while they then built your computer for you. Okay? That was not what people wanted. So please remember this very carefully now as I take you through to the next page. How do you essentially what your customers want, which was the second bonus I promised you. So here are my adverts. And let me take you through them. Family, family, family was my heading for all my products and services. Sorry, my products. Plug in and go. Remember that? No deposit, easy finance. No deposit, easy finance. Family, family. 7 days a week. I didn't make all this up. What I did was I plugged the gaps. So my X factor became your family computer store 7 days a week. That is a killer X factor. How I stood out in this hugely competitive niche by simply doing this process. Again, this didn't happen in 5 minutes. I didn't sit down at the table and have a cup of coffee and write this out and this happened. This took you know, 2.5 years or 3 years to figure this all out. And eventually, when obviously the more I did it, the better I got it. And that's why the business kept going up and up and up, because I just became relentless on what I'm telling you guys, on focusing on, and not all the rubbish you hear out there, what you should be doing for your marketing. So let's quickly now look at what we're coming up to is the result. So we've had the niche, we've talked about your offer. Now we need to look at the result, which is the next piece I'm coming on to.
Luke, there's just a question onto that other one that we did before.
Okay.
Don't know if you want to wait till the end. Would you like me to give it to you now?
Let's wait until the end.
Okay.
Let's wait until the end. All right. So this is the power of selling without selling. All right. So what I've done, the reason this particular thing, the multimedia family PC, I sold over $10 million of that. Okay, and I haven't got to the selling part yet. This was because I've worked at my niche and I worked my messaging to my niche, so my customers came to me. And if you get this right, your customers will come to you because they are looking desperately for solutions to help them. And if you haven't got the steps that I'm telling you, you're missing the mark. Your message is not resonating. You're talking to the people in the wrong niches. When you get this right, and again, it's a work in progress. I'm not saying it's easy. But when this thing all comes together, and if you stick to this process, it will happen. You ask any, I'm talking about real successful people in business, not all these clowns on Facebook roaring around in their Ferraris, pretending in their Photoshop style. I'm talking about, you talk to business owners who've really made it in business. They'll tell you exactly what I'm telling you now because it's street smart. It's real stuff. So this is, I wanted to show you this picture here because this is what you call the result, the final outcome, the delivery of your solution, which is the next piece coming in, the final piece. We started in that tiny shop I showed you earlier. This was one of my superstores. I had 2 of these and I had other smaller stores. But what I did was I designed this whole thing around those pain points on this thing right here. Everything that went on in there is integrated into my offer. This was my offer. So I had desks with friendly salespeople. You sat down and you could discuss your purchase. It wasn't freaked out geek stuff, you know, freaking customers out. You can't see it here, but in the background there, sort of there, that's what I had. An internet cafe. It was the first one in South Africa inside a superstore, and I had coffee there. So what if you had a big deal going on, they would bring coffee to the table, the customers would sit down as a family environment. And I had everything on display. I had displays everywhere in the store so people could see exactly, you can see the big printer displays all there. This is what you call setting up your offer. This is, you know, this is everything my customers were asking for, and this is why this became a $12 million business. This is the lines at some of our stores when we ran promotions. Again, this is, does your message resonate with your customer? This is your goal. And this is, you know, this is the result in one of the other stores. You can see the displays at a huge wall of all the displays where people can see things. All I did was just listen to my customer. And this is another example of my distribution business. So I told you the story about me with a clipboard inside stores in the trenches doing all the work. And that business was selling ink cartridges to customers who wanted to print. But the problem, going through the templates I showed you, was it's so confusing. If you've ever bought a cartridge, you're now confusing that number is. And then you've got to try to remember your printer model. So people buy these cartridges and they're expensive, come home, try and put it in their printer, it wouldn't work, go back to the shop, scream and shout at the salesman for selling in the wrong cartridge, and then there was this big fiasco. So I just came up with a solution, putting pictures on. And so if we quickly go back to the slide, which you're all searching for, how do you plug the gaps and create an X factor? All right, that's your goal, what you want to try and find. Mine became remembering which cartridges is now so easy, just remember your picture. Following this process, again, this didn't happen in 5 minutes. This became a $3.5 million business in less than 3 years. That was the value of the business, simply for everything I'm showing you today. So let's look at your workshop now. This is the final piece. And what does this workshop mean? It's time to get dirty, right? You can't sit looking at a spreadsheet, do this. You have to get out in the real world. If you've got an existing business, you need to get dirty with your customers. Everything, you need to find out everything that you need to know from your customers. Okay, and this is what you call your workshop. And inside your workshop, it's this ongoing thing. You've got a niche, so you've got to struggle. So you've got to start on a niche, and you can't niche jump until you're absolutely certain it is not working. Then you've got to start giving offers. And inside your offer, the most important thing I said is not your product or service, it's your messaging. And you got to play with the messaging. And when your messaging comes right to the people in your niche, then you get a result. And you got to keep filling with this thing until you get a result. Results are two things, like I said in the first minute of this webinar. Are my customers happy with what I'm giving them? You can't sell your customers rubbish, otherwise you're going to get a bad result. The second thing is my offer working? What is the result? And you need to keep track of that. And this is the truth about business that I think I'm probably the only one in the world that tells you this. The truth, this is not easy. The process is easy. The process is very simple. It's just not easy doing this. You've got to keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this. This is all you have to be doing in business, and you should never stop because markets change, trends change, customers' buying patterns behave. But if you ask what should you be doing in business to make money, you should be doing this, the simple equation. Keep fiddling with your offer and your messaging. Use the template I've given you and see your result. That is how business works. And you test and measure until you become successful. There is no other way. If you don't want to land up in this bush like this, then please just follow what I'm telling you. I really do know what I'm talking about. I've done this for so long and I've helped so many businesses. Most people just can't get through the stage. It becomes too hard. They don't have help and then it just all falls apart. So why do 96% fail? Well, simply they don't test and measure. They try this 3 times and give up and say, oh, this doesn't work. Right? You can't give up. This process works. You know it and I know it. It's whether you have the resilience and all the pieces to get through it and try. But you've got a real cracker of a formula to follow you. Or they don't follow the process. They start to take shortcuts. They get impatient. That's a big thing. It's not working. I've tried for 3 weeks, 3 months. This thing doesn't work. It works when you get it right. That's when you know you got it right. Otherwise, you got to keep going. And then they start to fudge answers. Oh, too lazy. You got a sore throat. The dog's sick. I don't feel like doing my survey. So then they fudge answers and give me, like they come people I work with. Yeah, well, this is my report, and this is basically they've guessed. Nothing's going to happen if you guess. I think I've made this absolutely crystal clear for you guys. All right. And then what they start doing is they now start to niche jump. Because this one doesn't seem to work. Well, they haven't even done anything yet, and now they're jumping around. This is a recipe for disaster. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to get overwhelmed, stressed, and this is not going to work. Try and go and do this alone with no help. You can see this is not easy what I'm telling you, but it's the right stuff. And if you try and do this all by yourself, it's very, very difficult when things don't go wrong. And in most times while you're figuring it out, things are not going to go right. I'm telling you that. And this is where people give up. And you shouldn't be giving up because you're actually not doing stuff wrong. You just haven't got it right yet. And this is a huge one. Last webinar session I did was all about mindset and dealing with people who shouldn't be around you, because you in business, you've got a goal and there's a lot of hardships that come with building a business. You all of us get doubt and demotivation and procrastination and uncertainty. And the only way you ever get through all that stuff is if you're surrounded by people who support and encourage you. Because business is hard enough by yourself. That's why you should never go alone. But if you've got all these wrong people around you telling you an idiot and this will never work and blah, blah, you eventually start to believe all that rubbish. So you've got to be around people who help and support you. This is this is what you have to do. So let's quickly recap on this. How do you find lucrative red hot niches? That's what we learned today. From your broad niche down into your hot pots. I showed you how to shift and sift to the sweet spots. I showed you how you find your hot pot, that is your goal. The customers who want to buy from you the quickest and the easiest. How do you stand out in the crowd? You know, in the cluttered market and become the business customers want to buy from. I've shown you how to design your X factor products and services to match exactly what your customers really want. This way you sell way more, much quicker. And I'm showing you how you set up your workshop and the formula you need to use to get results. And then I've given you the one-page plan where you can stick all this on and you keep refining this until you get your results you want. So you have everything you need to go ahead and build yourself a great business. Tools that I don't think many other people have even heard about. So you have everything you need to go ahead and start doing these practical street smart strategies in your life today. So the big question now is, do you want to try and do this all by yourself and hope you don't land up in the bush at the end of the road, like the picture I just showed you earlier, and land up like 96% of businesses and not making it, wasting years and years of trying and tens of thousands of dollars mistake? Now, 2021 is almost here. How has 2020 gone for you? How's this year been? Do you want another year to pass and you're still in the same position, nothing has changed, but time is still one change? Like, how badly do you really want to reach your goals? How long have you been struggling with the same old thing? And how much is it actually going to cost you to keep doing the same old thing? Or do you want some help to get it right for the first time and short circuit all the pain and costly mistakes? Now, I promised you, I'm not selling you anything, and I'm not. But I am inviting you, if you're interested, to a personal consultation with Helena or myself. You are here right now on this call because you're stuck somewhere in your business or your life or both. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And you're looking for help and solutions to get you to where you want to go. And we can help. We have solutions to help you to where you want to go. Proper solutions, real help, not all the hype and rubbish that's out there. Real practical solutions I've developed over 25 years. And this will help you get unstuck, fast track your progress, give you direction, help to reach your goals, and shave off years of trying to do this all by yourself, and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to figure out all the stuff I've just been through. And if you do this, it will create the change you want and help you where you want to go. But not every business can be fixed, and not every business owner can be helped. It's true. I've been doing this for a long time. And we want to make sure we are a right fit for each other, because we see this as a start of a journey together. And the clients who we work with, and we're very blessed and lucky to work with, we really enjoy our relationship with them and we're very protective of them. So how does this all begin? First of all, there is no catch. I know so many of these webinars and all this, these consults, they all try and corner you and pressure you. We don't work like that. We don't need to work like that. Why? Because it doesn't work. The long-term plan, that stuff doesn't work. There's no win if you're forced into something. You get angry, we get frustrated, we both are wasting our time. This call together is, we want to get to know you, you get to know us, and is there a natural fit? This protects you from wasting your money and us wasting our time. So this is how it works. You book a one-on-one, no obligation strategy and direction call. And what happens on this call is we put your business through a 15-minute business health x-ray. And this is what it looks like. This is an incredibly powerful tool I've developed over the years. And it doesn't matter what business I can pinpoint. We ask you questions about these 8 pillars in your business, including your quality of life as an owner, that you eventually want to offload and have time. We put it through a series of questions and this graph comes up. And what it does is it tells us your 3 biggest weaknesses right now in your business. Because right now, if you're struggling, because you have no idea most probably where to even start or what is wrong. This takes off, it's going to take 10, 15 years off your problems. This is what we do in the first 15 minutes. We pinpoint your 3 biggest challenges. Then what we do with that? Well, I tell you what is your quickest wins based on your existing problems right now. And then we move into a 30-minute strategy session. Now, I used to do consulting for businesses, and I used to charge $1.5 grand for this. All right, because it is profound. It's all my knowledge and years of experience, and a concise thing that gives you exactly a snapshot of your business. Where does your business truly suck? And how do you fix it? And that's what happens, and you get that for free. And then at the end, we discuss options with you of how we can help you if you're interested and if we think we can help you. So this is 45 minutes that could genuinely change your life, as it is for many others. So the most precious resource we have on earth is time. Maybe you realize that, maybe you don't. And this is Burley Heads, where I live, and I covered this in depth in my last webinar, all about the mindset and how you design your pathway to get you to wherever your dream place is, or wherever you want to live, and whatever your goals of your business are, and how you overcome all the obstacles in your way. But ask yourself this one question. How much time do you still want to spend on where you're at right now? It's a simple question. And as time goes on, what is it costing you financially and emotionally to go through yet another year of the same Groundhog Day, each day not reaching your goals? So simply, do you want change? Change starts with a decision. So what's your decision? Do you want to remain stuck, continue to have your business wearing you down, thinking this time around, I'm definitely going to get it right, the same story you've been telling yourself for 10 years? Or do you want change? You're tired of struggling, you want to sit back one day and smile, knowing that you turned your business into a valuable asset you set yourself up for life. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that why you went into business in the first place? So if this is something for you, the consultation, there's an email in your inbox right now. Helena would have sent it with a link to book your one-on-one time with us. You click on the link, you book your time, and let's discover the opportunities in your business, and let's get to know each other. And for the action takers, I have a bonus for you. The first people who want to do this, I'll give you the planner so you can fill that in. I'm going to give you a private recording of the entire webinar that we did last month on how to create a mindset for success. I mean, again, for me, this piece, I don't know, anyone can cope in business or survive in business if your brain is not straight. This was a very powerful webinar I did, and I think you would really, really benefit from that if you haven't seen that. And I'm going to give you a copy of my latest book, depending on if you've bought a book or what version, and it comes with a free video training course. So that's valued at over $350. I'll give you all of this on the call, and if that's for you, then book your slot, and let's begin your brand new chapter together. So let's move now to Q&A. Okay, Helena,
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, there's actually a couple already. So,
Okay.
so this is from the one that earlier. So there is too many patients that have a certain illness, and some have money and some don't. They are different ages. How do you choose the right ones, and why do you choose? How do you choose which ones have money and which ones don't? So how do you get a clear money flow score from the varied ages, economic groups? How do you find this information? How do you know which one's the right one?
Okay, so simply, you don't care if they have money or not. I've already explained this in the, like the young girls, they have no money. So, but they still manage to come up with $25,000 to look like Dolly Parton on Instagram. They find the money. That's not your problem. You're not interested in that. What you want to find out is if the niche is lucrative. In other words, are they wanting to buy? And the way you do that is through research. There's no other simple way. You cannot guess in your head what is happening. So, sorry, Helen, are you deleting the questions there? I'm actually looking at the questions to help me answer.
No, sorry, they're just in the answered section. Sorry.
Okay, because the question is quite confusing. Like, you can't focus on where the money is. Sorry, if whether people have money or not, that's not your concern. A lucrative niche doesn't have to have people with money in. A lucrative niche is where people want to spend money regardless of how they get it. Okay, that is what you got to focus on. And the only way is you take a large niche. You got to have some idea. So if you're talking about general wellness or illness, you got to start somewhere in that niche and put down whatever, I don't know what that is, and then you break it down. There is no other way to do this. But I don't know if you book a call one-on-one with me, I can actually show you other tools of research that may help you, but it's quite difficult on this call to answer that. Okay, go to the next one.
Okay, so there is one here that says, I've been following you for a while. I've been in business for 3 years and I've been struggling and have realized that I'm in the wrong niche. But I just don't know where to start. It all seems too hard to change. What do you think I should start with first?
Well, I hope you listened to the webinar. That's a good start. The thing is, if you have been in business, one of the things, if you have been in business, can you still see the screen, Helena?
Yep, we can still see the screen. Yep.
Yeah. So if you've been in business, or even the other person who's anonymous about this wellness thing, you have to go through these questions and get an idea. Because even if you've got an idea, your structure is probably all over the place. The great thing about it is you've got experience in the streets. If you've got a business that's been going, even if it's going for 2 weeks, I mean, if it's been going for 5 years, 10 years, there's so much gold sitting in that business, you have no idea. I mean, the people that we work with who've got businesses, we turn them around so quickly because there's just gold lying all over the place, but they don't know how to mine the stuff. They are experts in what they do, which is good. But you don't make money being an expert at being expert. You make money because you are a smart business person. So if you've got an existing business and you don't know what the hell's going on in it, then book a one-on-one. And what we'll do is we'll go through this together, and your eyes you'll have new vision in life on your business. You'll see immediately what is wrong, and then we can tie it back to your niche and say, well, these are the problems, and we go back to the formula. So this is a pretty structured process I take you through. I don't make this up as I go. So the simple answer is, if you're struggling, this webinar is giving you a bit of clarity, then let's talk, and I'll put your business through this thing. And immediately when you say these 3 things, you're going to say, oh yes, but this, and this. And then that's how the conversation flows. And then we work together to find that gold. It's like I say, it's a very simple process. It's just not easy. You just got to keep going. And if you want guidance and help, well then please, let's talk. Say there's no catch, no obligation, but I promise you, simple 15-minute conversation, we could change your life. It's done for many, many others. I hope that helps. Okay, next, any more?
Yeah, so if there's a lot of competition in a niche, how do I stand out if everyone is offering similar products? Shouldn't you go somewhere where there isn't so much competition?
So again, this is standard textbook rubbish. You can't, there's no money. When I say, don't get confused between a lucrative niche and a niche that has no money in it. Like I say, I keep referring to that example of the girls who want to look like, Princess Diana or whatever. You have to choose niches. Where there's money in niches, there's going to be competition, because smart business owners are doing what I'm telling you. They go to where the money is flowing. That's why they're smart. That's why they make money. The other Muppets don't do this. That's why they get stuck and they don't do it. And I get so frustrated with all these professors out there, experts, are all giving people the wrong information. You can't find niches that have no one in it, because that's where you're going to stand out. It's like the best house in the Bronx. Okay, you're going to build all your infrastructure investment in somewhere where you're going to get no return on investment. That is why you don't go to those niches. They're like deserts. You got to find, through the process I've shown you, what is wrong, and then through the deepest desires and pains, You've got to get to know your customers better than anyone else. It's that simple. There's no other way to do that. Okay, any more?
Yep. So how do you deal with a competitor who keeps copying your work and your signature elements?
Nothing. Honestly, what can you do? Like if you're an innovator, and you are constantly putting good stuff out, they're eventually going to tire out. Okay, they can't. If someone keeps copying you, honestly, take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
there's no formula. Go and shoot them, hire assassin, or whatever, get rid of them. You can't do that. So take it as a compliment. Wow, my stuff is so good. The truth is, anyone can copy someone else's advert, website, my webinars, everything.
Yeah, we see it all the time. Yeah.
But can they actually execute on what you're doing? Now, if you're doing a good job, and if someone's pinching all your stuff, they're probably not very good ethically, morally, how they're actually going to treat all their customers. So I wouldn't worry about it. Most competitions stuff up. 96% of businesses fail. Just be obsessed with your customers and giving them exactly what they want. Look after them. Focus on that result that I talked about. Focus on your offer and focus on your niche. Forget about anyone else. Of course, pay attention to competition, what's going on, or they're doing good things that you got to be aware of. But you cannot become so obsessed that your focus is on competition, not on your customers. That's the advice I would give on that. Any more?
Yep. So this is from the earlier one. So we have a category called money flow score. Would you mind explaining that a little bit more? So should you ignore the score in the chart then, if we're ignoring if people can, if we want to know if people can spend on our product or not?
Okay. Okay. I can see what.
Yeah.
Right. The money flow score is not how much money the people have. The money flow score is how willing are they to give it to you. You understand? This is what I say about understanding how money flows. You're not worried if someone's a trillion billionaire. All you're worried about is if they are going to give you money for what you're offering them. Most people are in debt anyway. Most of the world lives in debt. So trying to find niches where someone's highly cashed up, that's like, who cares? All you're worried about is, are they going to pay you for your service or product? It's irrelevant if they got a toothbrush. If they're going to buy your stuff, they're going to buy your stuff. Okay, next.
I think there's some confusion between the money flow score and the desire level score. So how much they want to pay you.
So the desire is how badly do they want an outcome. And let me go back to the screen. I know this can be confusing, guys. I did say in the very first line of this webinar.
Yeah, I think that's where it's important about doing as much research on your customers as it is, and truly understanding their pain points. Like there's no point in making up the pain points, going, oh, they want this solved because they're frustrated by this, but they're not really. I think that's one of the biggest things where people get stuck on, where they say, I can solve their problem, but they don't actually, that's not the problem that they want to be solved. There you go.
So I'll try and explain this, the difference. So I think money flow scale is pretty clear now. I think I've explained that enough, right? So now you're asking, is the desired outcome, how does that affect this? So
like using this as an example, so how badly does a man want a penile disorder fixed compared to a headache?
Okay, so look, I'll try and answer. I actually did cover this exact thing where I showed you an example of where there's a massive desired outcome but not much money, and I just can't find it right now. But so the basic thing is, generally these things are related, but not always. So what is the first thing is the level of pain. If someone's got a huge pain problem, then generally they've got a big desired outcome to fix. Generally the two are linked. Here's the answer. So I told you about the restaurants. This goes back to want versus need. So the restaurant pain, these restaurateurs are in incredible pain. They desperately need a problem solved.
Process, right? Fixing a process, like if
so they're going bankrupt.
Right? Yeah.
Most restaurants go out of business, right? They do. So they got an incredible pain problem, but their desire, their pain and their problem is sitting probably 8 to 9. The desired outcome, because they don't want it, is 0. If they desperately desire to have someone fix their restaurant, it'll be 8 to 10. So you can have a desired outcome of 0 with a massive problem, but people don't care about it. That's why I covered the difference between want versus need versus want. You want to focus on what people want. That's your cash flow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we've butted heads with restaurant people before. It's like, you need to fix this, but then the biggest concern is their day-to-day practice, and they just want to have like the new fridge or something like that. So
yeah, I think like I say, guys, if I'm not getting clarity with you, if you're still struggling on this concept, then please, I'm happy to talk to you on one-on-one. I say there's no catch obligation. I'll help you through these issues. I did say this is not for the faint-hearted, but business is not for the faint-hearted. But all I can stress before we say goodbye is please follow this process. It really does work. This is practical business stuff. It's not stuff I just put together to sound clever. It's years and years of experience teaching you guys stuff.